What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Down to the Wire. I'm your host, Brian Costa, and tonight I've got a great episode in store for you. Listen, I know it's been like 2 weeks since I've been on the air. A lot of stuff's been going on around Bryant and the radio station, so maybe we'll talk about that a little bit. But yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So I know that I got a lot to catch up on. There's been a ton of news in the NBA, the MLB, and I think, tonight with the Bruins being on, I think we touch on the NHL a little bit. I think at least with the Boston Bruins, their historic season, touch upon that. So stay tuned for that tonight. Also, I want to say that we are welcoming back on a special guest to the show. He's been on a multitude of times now at this point. The voice of basically every WJMF radio sporting event on campus, Mr. Zeke Kransdorf. Zeke, how you doing? Welcome back.
I'm doing pretty well, and I'm glad to be back. I was on a little bit of a hiatus myself. I had a musical that happened just this past weekend. But now that is done with, and I have a lot more free time on my hands. So when Brian said, "Hey, do you want to come on the show?" I said, "Absolutely, let's run it back."
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the musical you were into this weekend.
So it was a production of Carrie the musical. So it's based on the Stephen King book Carrie.
Sure.
And it was it was based on the musical that went. It was on Broadway for about like 5 weeks or so, which is very, very short amount of time for something to be on Broadway. And we had 3 productions: Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I played the character of Billy Nolan, who, if you have not seen Carrie, he is the pretty much the villain, the main villain's boyfriend.
Okay.
So the classic scene where Carrie gets pig's blood dumped on her.
Yeah.
I'm the person dumping the blood, and I am also the person who killed the pig to get that blood. To put my character into a bit of perspective.
Yeah. Okay. So not the most morally.
No, he's a bad person.
Yeah, pretty bad dude.
Pretty bad
dude.
person.
Yeah.
Yep.
About to say.
Yeah.
But yeah. So but all in all, it was a good show. You enjoyed yourself?
Yeah. I had fun. It's always fun to have all your like hard work kind of pay off and have everyone come and see it, and my family came down. My brother actually came down to see one of my shows for the first time. Awesome. And it was honestly a great experience.
Yeah. So I mean, I'll say I'm glad that you guys had a fun time with that. I know. Yeah, I wanted to get you on last week, but you had mentioned you had the play, so I was like, fair enough. Take care of that. Go kill that. Don't even worry about it. But I am glad to get you on today. And I'll just say for myself, I've been off for about 2 weeks at this point, and main reason is, one of them being, school just kicking both our asses. It's crazy.
It's really ramped up. All the teachers have kind of decided collectively, like they've made a handshake agreement behind every student's back. Hey, let's just assign a lot of work.
Yeah,
because
make their lives a living hell.
Yeah. The semester is coming close to the end, so we have to cram all the things that we didn't get in right now, just to really just like drive the nail in.
Yeah, the big thing with me is like, so I'm going to grad school, so I technically have like another 2 years of school, but everyone around me in my grade is having like that senior slacking off kind of, just like senioritis kind of thing. I'm feeling for you, man. You got like another full 2 years of undergrad that you got to like, still kind of be like grinding at right now. So like, it's tough for me because I'm like, everyone around me they're literally saying, "Oh, don't worry about that quiz. Don't worry about this." And I'm like, man, I just can't. That's not me. That's not in my DNA. I have to like be on that. So it's definitely been a grind. And then the other thing that we have going on too is we got the WJMF Radio Spring Stock event coming up in about 9 or so days. So it's starting up. It's we're under 10 days, man. It's insane. It's getting a little real now. But yeah, so I guess we'll kind of do a little promo for that now. We are doing a 2-day event with the radio station. The first day is taking place on Friday, April 28th from 3 to 6 p.m. We're going to have food trucks, inflatables, hopefully a dunk tank pending. So we're going to see how that goes.
Yeah, I think I'm volunteered to go in the dunk tank. So, if you want to see the voice of Bryant Sports go underwater and you get to hear me call, myself getting dunked, that's.
Yeah, the goal is that there will be a dunk tank. There's just been a whole litany of issues right now, so that will hopefully be taken care of in the next couple of weeks. That day is going to feature some student DJs. We're going to have the jazz band playing and a bunch of other people doing their thing. And then the second day, Zeke, do you kind of want to profile that?
Yeah. So basically, we partnered up with the Sigma Chi fraternity for their Derby Days fundraiser for the Huntsman charity, which kind of deals with researching cancer research. And we have 3 acts that are going to go on for a kind of like mega concert. One of them is DJ Bishop, who is a former WJMF alumni. We had a little bit of a preview of some of DJ Bishop's work for the 50-year anniversary of the radio station, which we celebrated this past November. And it was fantastic. So we said we have to get him back here. And we got him back. Next, we have a band that is made up of a bunch of members, former members of Sigma Chi, called Overserved Again. Mm-hmm. And then finally, the one that I'm personally most excited about, we have a pop punk artist who I've been a fan of for a while, named Picture Us Tiny. And I was the main kind of contact point for that one. So I reached out to him, got talking, and was really the facilitator and the coordinator. So I'm very, very excited for everyone to, come, especially on the 29th, but the 28th is going to be a fantastic event as well.
Yeah, it should hopefully be a really great day. I'm excited for it. There's been a lot of hard work put into this. I know that this semester I had a lot of other people on my e-board, like you, like Bill, even Ethan, especially, who's our events director. He's been doing amazing work for us, kind of giving them a little bit more responsibility this year, as opposed to Autumn Beats, where that was kind of a bit more of a not as like a spread out of a project. So I'm really proud of the way that all you guys have done with that. So I'm super happy. And I think this is going to come together really well. So I'm really excited about that. But Zeke, the main reason people are here tonight is to hear us talk about some sports. And,
to heck with the personal lives. Get that out of here.
No, like what the hell are we doing? But yeah, so I say this typically. I don't talk about hockey much on my show. Sure. Like, it's just a given fact. Like, the main reason for it is, it's not that I'm not entertained by hockey. I'm extremely entertained by hockey. I'll say that whenever playoff hockey is on TV, I don't care who's playing. I'll watch any game. And the other caveat I'll say too is, if I'm at a live hockey game of any level, major league, minor league hockey,
college,
college, high school games, I go crazy too. So like, if I'm watching hockey live, or if it's playoff atmosphere hockey, I'm locked into it. The only issue is, when it comes to covering it, I can say, oh, wow, that was awesome, but I don't know the game. When it comes to baseball, I played that game. I know baseball. When it comes to football, I've been watching that game my whole life. And then the NBA, it's so well covered enough that I can pick up on enough things to kind of understand it. So that's the reason I don't talk about hockey too much on the show. But when you have a season like the Boston Bruins had this year, you really can't not talk about it. I mean, just an incredible year, 65 regular season wins.
Yeah.
Unreal.
Just going off of that, I remember so we're in a class together called the Newsroom. And I remember writing a story about the Boston Bruins, saying, hey, they're on the precipice, if you will, on the precipice of making history.
That got you in trouble a little bit.
Apparently common linguistics doesn't use the term precipice, but oh well. But I was like, they're on the precipice of making history. They are, they have 5 games left. They're only 2 games behind the record.
Yeah.
And they won all 5.
Yeah.
So, really, really impressive season. Really just statistically dominant in pretty much every single facet. You look at goals for, goals against, you look at how many, wins you have. Wins is, how many. I think they went until January without having a single home loss in regulation.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It's ridiculous. It really is. Like, it is so, it's unheard of. That's the best term for it. It's unheard of how dominant the Bruins have been. And the key here is for them to continue that dominance.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think we can touch on in a little bit.
Yeah, that's something we can definitely touch on. And I want to say, outside of just the wins, which is, in my opinion, it's the most important stat in all sports. Like, again, you can be the best player on the planet, but if your team doesn't win, what are you at the end of the day? So, but there are some other great accolades from this year too. They also broke the single season rank for most points in a year. They beat out I think it was the 70s Canadians they beat for that record. I think it was the 77 Canadians. And then David Pastrnak had an incredible year, 50 goals this year. I think he's like the first 50 goal scorer for the Bruins since Phil Esposito. So he was incredible for us this year. And then Linus Ullmark, who, had a solid year last year, struggled in the playoffs, brought his game to an entirely different level this year. He's been
fantastic.
No, not fantastic. Not fantastic. Oh no, Phil Esposito was Linus Ullmark's record. That's what I meant to say. Actually, no, I'm wrong with that.
No, it was you had it right the first time.
I did, yeah. I wanted to say. But Linus Ullmark, he was incredible this year. 40 wins, 40 wins in net for this team. I mean, he was electric for us this year.
Swayman wasn't a slouch either.
No,
Swayman, you have a 40-win goalie and an over 20-win goalie.
Yeah, Jeremy Swayman is no joke either. He's electric too. And again, this is why I don't talk about hockey so much, because I can only just say, like, hey, they're really fun to watch.
Yeah.
But I will say this: you don't see it typically where goalies like each other as much as Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman do. Like, after every single win, they are bear hugging in the middle of
goalie hug.
I
love the goalie hug.
No, I love it. And I mean, like, you got to see Linus this year have the goalie goal. I think, sometime towards the end of the year, he had that, which was awesome. And then, it's been an incredible year. I'm really, of all the years to get the cup, this just feels like it would be the right year. 2019, I thought was going to be the time. I mean, I was a senior in high school at the time. It was probably the first time I really got into hockey other than just watching it as like a spectator. The reason for that being, when I was in my senior year, I was competing on my high school baseball team, and a lot of kids on that team also were on the hockey team.
Oh, gotcha.
And our assistant coach was also a huge hockey fan. So, everyone kind of just came around with the Bruins. They said, like, hey, every single game we're locked in for this stuff. So, eventually, like, it just became like this ritual with the team. And I remember the last game that we ever played, it was the same night as Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals, where we played the Blues. And, just stuff didn't go our way in that varsity game. The ball didn't roll the right way. And, we ended up losing and our season ended. And it was like, and it's weird because once you graduate from high school, I don't know if you played a spring sport in high school.
Technically I did, because I played high school football, which is typically it's typically a fall sport, but because of COVID my senior year, they pushed the football season into the spring.
Yeah.
So I did technically play a spring sport.
Did your season though extend past graduation or no?
No, it did not.
Okay. So what's weird with high school baseball is if you make it into playoffs, your season is usually after your graduation. So it's sometime in like mid-June when you're playing for high school playoffs, at least in Massachusetts, for the most part. And what was interesting with us was that we were like playing in this thing, and like we're like 10 days graduated from high school, so the only thing we're focused on right now is just playing ball, having fun with the guys that we've been doing it with our whole lives. And when that season ended, it was like, wow, that's like the end. That's the real end of high school for us. And we were like, damn, that, like, we're really bummed out. But hey, let's go check out the Bruins score in Game 7. And we're down by 3 goals. And we were like, wow, this is just a terrible freaking night. This is an awful night.
That's a bad day.
Yeah.
That's rough.
That really sucked, but that was a fun team to watch that year. And I haven't felt that as much joy of being a Bruins fan since then. And like, this is the closest I've had to it. And I'm like, if there's a year that they can make that cup run, everyone seems to be locked in again. They want to win it for Patrice Bergeron. David Krejci's back on the ice, ready to compete. And I think that, they have a good shot to do it this year.
I agree.
I mean, not even a good shot. Obviously, you have the best record. You're going to say that they have a good shot, but I think that if they can keep this momentum going, a lot of people don't know if they're as legitimate as other teams like Colorado and Tampa. If Tampa and Colorado play to their full potential, I don't know if the Bees can beat them. But if you can ride this camaraderie and, keep this up, I think that you could see, really great things.
Yeah. So, I follow hockey. Like, would say I'm more actively than I believe you do.
Probably. Yeah.
But
I mean, I'm going to watch the game tonight, but
yeah,
like,
my dad is a very, very avid Bruins fan. He
sure.
loves hockey. So, you know, I really started kind of watching it more and more and more and more.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's, one thing that the Bruins have to be wary of is it's almost like a curse, if you will, with the President's Trophy, where the team with the best record has not made it past the first or second round in like 7 years.
Oh, jeez.
So, you know, that's why I'm like, well, we have to keep, you know,
Yeah.
you have to keep the foot on the gas pedal.
No,
You have to keep up
absolutely.
the momentum. Yes, we are, you know, we won game one, even though we played a little bit sloppy in game one.
I think we played terrible in game one, to be honest with you.
And we
I mean,
still won. I think it was what, 3-1?
3-1. We had 4-1, but then that got wiped off due to goal interference. I'll say this, like, Florida outshot us in this game. They were just like, in terms of getting shots out, they were more dominant than us. But the thing that separates us than them, and I think will probably be the difference maker in this series, is we're just more physically imposing than them.
Yeah.
I think that we're just deeper than them, and that's going to serve us better in the long run.
Which in some ways kind of gives me a bit of, it's a bit refreshing, because you saw how terribly the Bruins played in game one, and yet they still won by 2 goals.
Exactly.
Right. So, you know,
and they did it without Patrice Bergeron, which we had believed up till that point he had been out with an illness, because David Pastrnak had been sick. There's an illness going through at the locker room, and apparently the initial reports were that Patrice Bergeron was just contracted an illness and he was going to miss the game. So they did fine in game one without Patrice. He's now out for game two, and it's now being said that this isn't because of the illness. So Patrice Bergeron has an injury, and like, listen, I think that you can probably get past this first round without Patrice Bergeron.
But further than that, we'll see.
You know, you can even get to the second round. You could probably get through that. But once you really start getting into these competitive series, it's going to be a difficult run. It's going to be a difficult run for you.
Absolutely. So you need to be at full strength, especially for the playoffs. That is really the difference maker between like Stanley Cup teams and just teams that will make either a first or second round exit.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. So I think that's something to definitely watch. Another thing that people were talking about watching was Linus Ullmark. During his 40th win, he left the game early. There are talks that, you know, Jim Montgomery was just saying like, hey, we just wanted to get him some rest. But other people are saying that there could be some injury concern for him down the stretch as well. And listen, I think that this team is good enough that you can win with Jeremy Swayman. If you need Linus Ullmark to stand on his head every night and just be like, you know, the best goalie on the planet, which he has been, you're not going to be winning these games anyways. You've been lucky enough to do it throughout the regular season, but you can't just count on a guy for like this long to be this dominant. Like, he's been great. We respect what he's done, but you should be able to win without him at full strength. Like, you should.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like, I mean, listen, like the goaltender is, you know, a very important part of the team, but like at the end of the day, if like you're just not even able to like defend in your own end, like you're going to be screwed.
And one thing that I will say is, you know, we're talking about how the Bruins played poorly in game one. I feel like that's more of a story of periods 1 and 2. The third period, the Bruins looked a lot more natural. They played the game the way that they usually play their games. So I think that as long as the Bruins kind of play in that same sort of vigor that they use or that they used in the third period, I think that they'll be fine.
Yeah, I think they will be too. I mean, what's interesting with Florida is they had who's Florida's backup goaltender, Bobrovsky?
I believe so.
Yeah, so he was the goaltender in the Blue Jacket series during the 2019 Cup run where we played them. And I remember like everyone on my high school team, they were saying like, oh yeah, you got to deal with Bob tonight. Yeah, you got him. And I'm just like, yeah, now he's on the bench. Like, I don't know. Like, it sounds like kind of a weird thing to say, but I don't know. It's crazy. Like, I think that we can definitely get past this team, and I think that we have the ability to do it, but Florida's not going to go quietly. They're not just going to like fall away and be like, oh yeah, like, yeah, you guys are just better than us. They're going to put up a fight. And we saw that in this game. So like,
yeah,
like, you know, even if they don't physically outmatch you, they need to be something to definitely.
I believe the game starts in like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's going to start up really soon. So I'm definitely excited for that. Hopefully I can catch it as it goes on more and more. But yeah, this is the reason I don't talk about NHL as much. I'm kind of just like kind of a lost cause. But I do want to say, let's get into some NBA news. I need to just like look up some statistics real quick. I am doing a lot of this show on the fly, so I appreciate it. Let me get this stuff up. Boston Celtics. Yeah, the Boston Celtics taking a 2-0 lead against the Atlanta Hawks. Pretty solid win again last night, 119-106. Jason Tatum doing his thing, had 29 points. Is this series already over?
I mean,
do you think this series is done?
Pretty much. Yeah. The Celtics, it's been 2 games, and the two games that they've played, they've won convincingly. Yeah. The scores for both games show the story of the games. And it's almost more dominant than the scores even suggest.
Yeah.
There have been times where the Celtics have been up by like 30 points, where the Celtics have been up by 26 points at different points of the game. I remember I was just checking the score. I think it was for the game last night. I was like, oh, I wonder how the Celtics are doing. And it was in the second quarter, and they're up by like 20.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, well, they're fine. So they've just been playing the type of basketball that they want to be playing. The Hawks really haven't put up much of a resistance to it, because it looks like the Celtics have kind of figured out the Hawks formula. Get the ball to Trae Young and hope he wins the game for you.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's been pretty difficult for the Hawks as of late, because Trae Young's playoff numbers have been kind of dwindling as of late. I saw some statistics, or at least heard some statistics rather, on 98.5 The Sports Hub today. They were saying, I think in Trae's like first, handful of playoff games, he was averaging like 30 points a clip. Was playing very efficiently, and that was kind of during those Knicks series where those Trae Young chants were coming down, and he was kind of dominating those in those games. I think they said in his last 9 games, excluding last night, he's averaging like 17. So like it's a very different type of player we're seeing right now. And the question is like, is Trae Young starting to kind of become a little overrated in the playoffs? I think that Trae Young is a great player. Ever since he came out of Oklahoma, I think he's had a lot of promise, but I don't know. He's not looking like the guy Atlanta's, kind of building him up to be.
I mean, so I feel like the difference between those, like that first series and kind of this series, is how people have been guarding him.
Yeah, sure.
In those first couple series, he was getting a lot of one-on-one looks, and now we start seeing more double teams. The Celtics are pretty much forcing the Hawks' hand, saying, "Hey, you need to beat us with someone other than Trae Young," and they can't do that.
Yeah.
So unless the Hawks have some miracle turnaround and Trae Young, gets his wish granted for immortality or whatever, I think the Celtics probably take the series.
Yeah. Speaking of hands, though, that you brought up, Jaylen Brown, before the playoffs even started, had the situation where he's apparently watering plants, glass falls on the ground, and he cuts his own hand, had to get 5 stitches. And it's like, what the hell is going on with this guy? I mean,
get this man a gardener.
No, get this man something else. Like, I mean, like he gets like the broken, what was it? Like the broken nose.
Yeah. He's still wearing that face guard too.
He's still wearing the face guard. Now he's a cut on his hand. It's like, man, this guy just can't catch.
He's halfway to dressing like Batman. Yeah. It's crazy.
No, he cannot catch a break this year, but he's still going out there and he's performing. I'm just, do you think this could be an issue for them down the stretch? Do you think that if we get up big, should they manage his minutes a little more?
I think they should.
Yeah.
We have the depth.
I mean, you're up 2-0 right now. Would you consider doing it now?
I would say if we're up 3-0.
I mean, 3-0's kind of a given.
Like, you know what I mean? If you are, even if you have a really like commanding lead, maybe like if you're up by like 20, 25 points, then I would say like give him a little bit of rest, because you need like health, especially in the NBA playoffs, is critical. You're looking at for the Heat, who might, you might play down the line. Tyler Hero has a broken hand.
Yeah.
He's done for. Giannis had that lower back injury, so he's going to be a little bit hobbled and it'll affect his the physicality of his play. When it comes to the NBA playoffs, health is essential. The healthier your team can be, the more likely you're going to be able to make it to the finals. It's a war of attrition at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So having Jaylen Brown healthy in the playoffs, game changer.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I think that I got to agree with you. I mean, it's crazy how the injury bug has been hitting guys lately. I mean, Ja Morant went down. Mm-hmm. You mentioned Giannis at the back. That's huge. That's huge. I mean, if Giannis is not able to play for, a good portion of the series, or even if he can play, but just isn't himself, that's going to it's insane right now.
That limits the Bucks tremendously.
Well, of course, he's the star player of the Bucks.
Well, yeah.
I think when he went down, it was the first time since March 15th, I believe, or February. I forget the statistic, but the Celtics are now favored to win the NBA Finals over the Bucks. The Bucks going into the playoffs were favored. After the Giannis injury, the Celtics are back in that conversation. So I mean, this kind of opens things up a little bit more. I'm kind of interested to see how this thing goes. But yeah, like you think the series is over. In your opinion, if everything was to maybe go right for the Hawks, or maybe they get even a little hot, how many games can you see this series legitimately go?
If everything goes right for the Hawks, 6.
I don't even know. I don't even know if Trae Young can buy you a game right now with the way he's playing. I don't know. Maybe you can get 5 if the Celtics decide to rest some guys and just take one of those scheduled losses that you take during the regular season. But other than that, I think that we might honestly have a sweep on our hands.
It's certainly possible.
I think we're genuinely going to have a sweep on our hands. I mean, the Hawks just look like they're just getting manhandled out there. But yeah, it's pretty ugly, man.
Yeah,
it's pretty ugly. I'll say this. For the Celtics down the stretch, you mentioned Jaylen Brown being, a guy that we're going to need, obviously. Jason Tatum, obviously, he's the star player, the face of the operation.
Derek White's been playing real well.
He's been playing out of his mind. But for your personal opinion, if there's one player that's not, one of those stars, not Tatum, not Brown, who is the one guy that needs to be on, in your opinion, to have that, to make the difference and actually have them be raising the title this year rather than just falling short like they did last year? Who's going to really need to turn it on?
I think it's a combination of two people.
Yeah.
It's either Marcus Smart, and I say Marcus Smart, not talking about defensively. Defensively, He's fine.
Sure.
But he needs to take care of the basketball, because Marcus Smart has cost games with sloppy turnovers at the end of games. So as long as Marcus Smart takes care of the basketball, we have a better shot at winning. And the second player I'm going to highlight, Robert Williams.
Mm-hmm.
He is a difference maker when he's on the court.
They are a completely different team when
he's fantastic at getting putbacks, getting offensive boards and everything like that on the offensive side. And on defense, he's a menace. He's one of the best shot blockers that I've seen in a very, very long time.
Yeah.
So with the combination of those two playing towards their best potential, I truly believe that the Celtics do have a great shot at winning.
Yeah. I think those are great. I think those are two great players. Definitely agree with Rob Williams. I mean, he needs to be on, and, he's not the type of person that needs to be scoring, 20 points a game. That's not his game. If you just have that defensive presence down low, that's all we need for him. The guy I'm going to say, though, we're going to need down that stretch to make that difference, it's the guy that we went out and acquired this year, Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah.
I mean, he was great in this game, had 13 points, 4 of 4 from the line, 4 of 11 from the field, which isn't as great. You kind of wish he could clean that up a little bit more, but, he had that amazing half-court shot to end the first quarter. I think that he really opens up your offense a lot more. He has proven to be a difference maker, I think, for you this year at times when he's on and the two J's are kind of working with him. So I think that he's going to be the guy that you really want to watch down the stretch. I think that he's going to know the Bucks if we do face them a little bit better. I think he gives you more rotational depth with guys like Smart, like you mentioned, even Derek White. Being able to swap him in with those two guys is really useful. But yeah, Marcus Smart, I know he had been dealing with some stuff for a while. Finally getting him back to, some semblance of what he was offensively. You want to make sure that he isn't chucking up threes, willy nilly, because that's the downside of Marcus Smart. Is like he gets a little too confident and he starts taking shots he shouldn't take. He's reeled it back in recent years. We saw it most recently last year when he, deferred on that shot in the opening round of the playoffs against the Nets, where instead of shooting what would have been the game-winning three, passes it off to Tatum, gets to, the easy lay-in. So if you can manage him and say like, hey, remember, this isn't your show. We're going to play you down the stretch. We're going to play you in these key minutes, but don't play hero ball. That's not your job.
That's kind of what I was trying to touch on with him, like taking care of the basketball. Not only is it, minimizing turnovers, but it's also, moving the ball around and finding the person who has the best shot. If that's him, then take the shot. Why not? But more often than not, there were times where he would take a shot that he really shouldn't have taken.
No.
And it really kind of cost the Celtics. So that's what I was trying to imply when I say Marcus Smart needs to take care of the basketball.
Mm-hmm. Now, I'll say this. If we move on to that next round and it is Miami and lying in wait, or if we just do end up playing them eventually, how do you feel about them? I mean, listen, like they haven't played up to the standard that they were at last year. I mean, they were a Jimmy Butler 3-pointer away from sending us home. And I think they match up against us really well. They're a team that I genuinely do have legit concerns about.
And rightfully so. However, I do think that this Celtics team is better than the one last year.
Oh no, I agree with that. But
so I think that even though it was we were Jimmy Butler 3 away from sending last year's team home, I think this year's team has a bit more substance behind them. You look back on that Heat series. There, you had Jimmy Butler playing out of his mind.
Oh my god!
So I don't think that one. I mean, he could replicate it, but what is the likelihood that you're going to have Jimmy Butler playing an entire basketball game with pretty much no breaks? I don't think he went off the court for Game 7. So
let's hope you're wrong.
Like I'm just, fingers crossed, all the jinxes covered, knock on. I hope that's wood.
I really do too.
But I think that, if we're facing in the Heat again, not only do our players have more familiarity with the playoff Heat, but it's also I think we match up a little bit better than we did last year with the pieces we added.
I'll just say this: if I had to describe the Heat in one word, it would be this: pesky.
Yep,
they are a thorn in your side.
Yep,
and it's not that they're going to, just outplay you, but they're kind of. I'm not saying like they're the bad boy Pistons of like the 80s. Like they're not those guys.
No.
But they're the type of people that, you probably can outplay those guys, but they're just going to give you fits. Yeah. And it kind of annoys you because skill wise, you should be able to dominate them, but they're, maybe they're getting a foul call every here and there. Maybe they're not, maybe they might be tripping you up. They're going to talk smack. You walk into, I don't even know what the name of the arena is now in Miami. It used to be American Airlines Center or Arena. They rebrand these things every year. I might be named that, but you walk into those arenas, into that arena in Miami, that place can get hostile in the playoffs. So
especially with like a whiteout game.
Oh my God. Whiteout game. It's over there. Like it is, It's impossible to win there in a whiteout. So, I will say that's something that they're definitely gonna have to watch out for. The Heat are one of those teams that can really, even if you can, I still think that I do agree with you. I think the Celtics could handle the Heat, but I think they could drag it out, make it a little bit harder on them. And, that could hurt you down the stretch by, maybe your guys are a little more gassed. Maybe some guys get banged up in that series by having to, go against Bam Adebayo, go against Jimmy Butler and all those guys. That's the type of thing is I think the Heat could wear you down. You could probably get past them in, 5, 6. If I don't think it would go to 7 games, but I think you could get past them in 5 to 6 games. But just the grueling, it's going to be a grind. That's the big thing with them.
It's going to be one of those series kind of similar to last year where it, going back on a point I said earlier, it's a war of attrition. You have to make it through them. You're gonna lose something along the way that you really wish you were able to keep. But
sure.
Again, I hope that it doesn't come to that again.
Yeah.
I don't want to play the Heat again.
Oh God, no, I really don't. I mean, who is a team that you would want to play again if you can, if it was to line up? Philly? I don't really fear Philly.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean,
fear them.
We beat them. We played a close game, I believe, in Philly in the regular season, where I think it was like half a second away from like going into overtime.
Mhm.
Because did you see that one where I think it might have been like James Harden or something like that, or Joel Embiid, who like launched a shot, but it was barely still in his hand when the timer went off.
Yeah, I did see that.
It's gonna be close. Don't get me wrong, but I think the Celtics.
I think we can take care of business against Philly. I really do. I think we can still handle them.
I was gonna say someone like the Knicks.
Yeah,
I think the Knicks.
Yeah, I agree with you there. Now, another team in the NBA that's kind of surprising people with how their lack of performing lately. The Golden State Warriors are not looking so up to their normal standard right now. Currently down 2-0 to the Sacramento Kings. I don't know. What do you make of that right now?
Sloppy.
Yeah,
it's just been sloppy for them, and that's not something you expect from the Warriors. They've been kind of one of the dominant forces in the NBA for a while.
Yeah.
And they're the reigning champions. I have a hard time counting the Warriors out of things.
No, yeah.
It's almost to make a little bit of college football and metaphor here. It's almost Alabama-esque. If they lose a game or lose two games, you're still like, they're gonna make it somehow.
Yeah.
You just know they're gonna
make it through.
You just know that things are always gonna go their way, and they're just gonna somehow manage to make their way back to the finals. And oops, accidentally win another one, right? Like, if I see Klay Thompson hold up 5 fingers, I like he's just like raises his hand up at like he's in like an elementary class.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'll do. But I won't be happy about it.
Mm.
So I just have a hard time saying, hey, the Warriors are out of this.
Yeah.
But when you look at how they've played, Draymond getting suspended for a game, for stepping on someone,
and that's the thing too. I'll say this: Draymond just continues to prove like why I don't think that he's valuable to the team anymore. I understand when Draymond was, the DPOY was, dominating for the Warriors and was like a real defensive presence. I was like, you know what? He's a real guy you got to worry about at this point. He's a real guy you had to worry about then. Right now, he's just causing you more problems, I think, than actually helping you.
Well, he's the guy you have to worry about, but from your side, you have to worry about him.
Yeah,
because he's become a little bit of a liability.
Yes, he's a nuisance now, and not for the other team. He's making it more difficult on you. Because listen, I think Draymond can still go out there and produce, but when you're doing stuff like this, still, it's not helping you out. Like, yeah, you kicked LeBron in the finals like 5 years ago. Okay, whatever. But we're still doing this, man. What's going on?
I think it was sometime like last finals that he suplexed someone.
Yeah.
I don't think they called a penalty on that.
No, he didn't.
Which
I think it was on Brown, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on Jaylen Brown.
It's ridiculous because
they're not doing anything about him, and like, yeah, he's just a problem. And like, I don't have any like animus towards him as a person, anything like that, but just his game. I think he's doing this stuff because he isn't able to do what he was once able to physically anymore. So he's playing like this in order to, replicate some of the production that he once had.
It reminds me a lot of the way that I used to play hockey.
Okay.
Where you can't skate as fast as the other kids,
sure,
but you can certainly hit them harder.
Yes.
Now, this was a problem because I played in a no check league, but
geez.
That was my mentality. I was like, well, they're going to outskate me, but they can't outskate me if they're horizontal. So was it a sound strategy? I mean, for me, it worked.
Yeah.
Did it make me a lot of friends in that league? No.
Can't imagine.
Did I spend a lot of time in the penalty box? Yeah.
Yeah.
But, it really just is a trade-off. How much shenanigans is Steve Kerr willing to put up with from Draymond Green. When will be the breaking point?
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I got to wonder about that. Zeke, before we do end this thing off, I want to switch over to MLB news real quick because the Red Sox are making things interesting right now. Like, they are not going away as quietly as people thought they were. Like, people thought that they were just going to go down in a heap in April and we're just going to, be done from the stretch. And frankly, I think that's still going to inevitably be their fate. I just don't think that, they put a lot in this team this year. It feels like a bridge year, which as a Red Sox fan is insufferable, but they are still staying alive. Had a nice walk-off win last night. Alex Verdugo, barely keeping the ball fair.
We're at 500 again.
Yeah, we're back at 500. Did you see Verdugo in the press conference? They asked him, "What were you thinking when you do that?" And he goes, "Please let that thing stay effing fair." And he just drops an F-bomb on live TV, and then proceeded to do it again after he said he was sorry. So he was
that's great.
No, he was amped up in that moment. I love the energy that he always brings. But yeah, the big story from the game, win or lose last night, was going to be Chris Sale. He was dominant. 5 innings, 11 strikeouts, turning back, talking about turning back the clock. My segment last week was going to be talking about how Chris Sale got lit up, which he did in his previous start. He went 4 innings previously, had 7 hits, 5 earned runs. And I'm looking over my notes and it was saying, is Chris Sale done? And now my question for you, is Chris Sale back? We saw a performance from him that we probably haven't seen in close to 2 years at this point.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go as far to say that he's back to where he was.
Mm-hmm.
Yet.
Sure.
I have to see more.
Oh no, you can't judge from the start, but this is pretty.
It was great performance, yes, but I'm gonna be a little bit more patient here. I know a lot of sports media is kind of rushing for headlines. Oh, is he back? Or is he done? Seems like we're working off of sort of like a binary. He's either the greatest ever or the worst ever. I'm sort of in this middle ground where he's proven that he can do this, but can he do that consistently?
Sure.
And I feel like that's sort of the story of the Red Sox as well. They've proven that they can win, but can they do it consistently? What's going wrong and why do we keep on losing in boneheaded ways when we've shown that we can play good baseball and we can win games?
But yeah, listen, I think that if you're talking about the Chris Sale that was the Cy Young candidate, the all-star pitcher that we saw for that World Series run here in Boston, is he going to be that guy again? No, we're not going to see that guy again. He's 34 years old, probably exiting his prime relatively soon. But at this point, could you still see Chris Sale being around the major leagues as, a top 3 pitcher in a rotation for years to come? Yeah. I could see that. If you put him on a competitive team, would he probably be a top 2 guy? Yeah. I could see that. Is he probably the ace of a really good team? No. But I look at Chris Sale now, and they're not comparable pitchers, but the only thing that's comparable about them probably is the hand that they throw with. But I look at Chris Sale in the same way now that I looked at Cole Hamels when the Phillies started to kind of shop him around on the block, and he ended up going down to Texas for the Rangers and pitching in that playoff run they had back in 2015. I look at Chris Sale and that way now, where Cole Hamels at that point was still a very solid pitcher for Philly and then Texas, but obviously had lost a step. And I think that that's kind of where Chris Sale is now. If he was to get shopped, which he's not going to, but he could still be a good piece on a bullpen, not a bullpen, but on a playoff contending team.
Yeah.
I think that's where you see him right now. I want to see more consistency from it, because the team he played against, it's, I think, currently ranked as the 25th best lineup in baseball, which isn't great, but that Twins lineup does have some key guys on it that can contribute for him. So the fact that he has had success against some of those guys does speak numbers.
As long as he's not punching walls.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing, because I was listening again to some sports talk, and they mentioned one thing from him was that they completely took out his sinker. like from his pitching arsenal. Like he was still throwing it occasionally, but not nearly as much as he typically does. It's basically just right now the fastball, the slider, and then the changeup. They took out like they took out the other pitch completely. So I'm wondering what they're going to end up doing with that. So, if that's what we get from him and he looks this dominant, I'm fine. I don't care if you have 3 pitches. We'll take whatever we can get from you. But yeah, I really do like him. I think that we can get something close to what we saw before, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I obviously I want to stay optimistic as well. But you want to make sure that those expectations are reasonable.
Yeah. I mean, Zeke, I'll say this. It's been tough to stay optimistic with the team as of late. The main
You'll
reason,
take what we can get.
Yeah. I mean, the main reason for it being, just a week or so ago, we had Adam Duvall go down with a wrist injury. I mean, he was the hottest hitter on the planet to start the season. Was hitting 400, was incredible for us, had the walk-off home run. And then he goes into Detroit, and in the 9th inning of this game, tries to, make a sliding catch, and just his wrist gets caught in the ground. And, I forget I think it's called a distal wrist fracture is what it's called. The minimum time that he's going to be out is 12 weeks, which means from the actual day he broke it, if you were to go 12 weeks exactly, he would be back playing again on the 4th of July, which we're not going to see. There's going to be a rehab assignment. Most likely won't be back until after the All-Star break. Yeah. The maximum recovery time is 52 weeks. So he'd be out and he would miss the rest of the year. So at that point, it's like, what are we even doing now? So hopefully he can get back on the field, but man, just like it hasn't been a good break for the Sox so far to start the year. I mean, listen, Chris Sale's a great story. They're treading water, but there are definitely some holes on this team that need to be filled.
I mean, you know what they say, can't have in Detroit, and I guess Adam Duvall couldn't have his wrist in Detroit.
No,
it's really unfortunate. Because he, like you said, he was playing fantastic baseball, but we're just gonna kind of like,
this is gonna be a really interesting season. This is gonna feel like just a grind the entire summer.
Oh,
and like, unless they go one way or another, I'm just gonna be like, wow, like this team is just like stressing me out. Like, just pick a side. If you're gonna suck, you're gonna suck. Just fall off the wagon now. Just like give me something to like rail against. Or if you're gonna compete, let's see you turn it on. I want to make things interesting here.
It's it's a lot. The Red Sox are very similar to the weather in New England. It's bipolar as hell.
Yep.
So they're one day they're fantastic. It's a bright sunny day, and then the next it's like 52 and rainy. So
I mean, I'll say this right now: the Red Sox, some of the holes that I mentioned, man, we are missing Xander Bogaerts really bad right now. Yeah. And I mean, listen. I didn't want Chaim Bloom to give him the contract that the Padres did. I think that they should have worked out something well before he ever got to free agency. And I think you could have gotten him at a decent number. But, man, without Xander Bogaerts in that infield, it's been ugly. Kike Hernandez really just can't play shortstop. It just is not the position for him.
It shouldn't have come to that.
No, it should. No. I could understand it coming to that. What it shouldn't have come to was Bobby Dahlbeck suiting up and playing shortstop down in Tampa Bay. Jared Carrapaz was trying to hype that up and saying like, yeah, we got Bob Stop out there. I'm like, yeah, this is hell. Bobby Dahlbeck playing shortstop is literally, I think, the definition of hell.
Yeah, I mean,
he booted a ball out there, like, and I don't try to like crap on Bobby Dahlbeck every time I can, but like the guy just hasn't produced at the big league level.
Yeah,
it just hasn't worked.
He can barely play first base.
No, like, exactly. It's like you're gonna stick this guy as the captain of the infield. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah,
and I think what. He can play a decent third. Why are we sticking this guy at short? Like this is a clown show at that point. Like it's stupid. And like I saw the Red Sox, they actually just made a move in the minor leagues that I think could potentially work out. They brought up Emmanuel Valdez from the minors. He was an infielder that we got in the Christian Vasquez trade. I got to see him down at a Woo Sox game. It was actually his Woo Sox debut. And in his second at bat had a nice line drive opposite field home run. The way I kind of saw him, at least at that point, he reminded me a lot of Rougned Odor from his days with the Texas Rangers when he was really hot with those guys. He kind of has a similar swing to that. So I think that, he's got some opposite field pop. The big issue for a while with him was that they didn't have a position. They were trying him at the outfield, trying him at third base, trying him at second base. And I guess right now they're having him up as a second baseman. So we'll see how his bat projects. I think he's got some solid pop.
what the Red Sox really need is a spark.
Yeah.
So if
maybe this kid's got it.
Whatever we can do to get that spark.
Yeah.
I'll take it.
I'll
take it.
I mean, hopefully like one of our rookies can come through right now, because as of right now, Tristan Casas is struggling too. I mean, he's just not been himself at the plate. And I guess what the Red Sox are hoping from him right now, and this is something that they're actively, talking about, is the fact that back in 2006, 2007, when Dustin Pedroia came up to the big league club, he struggled mightily in April. I think he hit like 120 or something to open the year. And Alex Cora was the original starting second baseman, and Pedroia was trying to earn his stripes and become like this, become the household name that he was. Yeah. And the team told Alex, hey, once Dustin gets this thing going, you're going to become a reserve guy, but we need you to help him out. And he was like, okay, I'm going to help him out and get him right. A lot of people are hoping that Cora, the manager, can now do that with Casas as opposed to Pedroia. As we know with Pedroia, once he got hot in 2007, he was unstoppable.
Yeah, no looking back.
Yeah, no, he was rookie of the year. Next year won MVP and was, almost one of the faces of baseball for a while. Was the best second baseman in the game when he was at his peak. So, if we can get Tristan Casas hitting, he could be a amazing power threat for us. But that's gonna be something we're gonna have to wait on the future for.
Yeah, you just have to trust that Alex Cora, he's done it before. Trust that I'll be able to do it again, but we'll have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a very interesting year for the Sox. I think that, right now we have a decent bullpen. I think Josh Winkowski is coming together, looking pretty solid. If we decided to actually build at the bullpen and spend on starting pitching, I think we'd have one of the better bullpens in baseball. Maybe if we were to put Garrett Whitlock back there, but even he's looking solid in the starting rotation. So, I don't know. I think that there are improvements to be made, but I like where we're at right now. I just don't want to see them take their foot off the gas just yet.
Yeah, I mean, it's still April.
It's still April. It's still a new season for everyone. Hopefully they can make it interesting. But Zeke, it has been a crazy episode. We've talked about a lot of things, from Carrie the musical to the Red Sox. So, I mean, it's been a great time, but unfortunately we are now down to the wire, which means that we're going to wrap up what we talked about in this episode. Zeke, thank you so much again for coming on, man. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm always happy to come on to the Down to the Wire podcast, and all of the streaming services that it's on, Spotify, YouTube. $5 for the plug. Yeah.
Take the wallet. Just take it.
Appreciate it.
All right. No. So Zeke, thanks for doing the plug for me there real quick. But yeah, it's like he said, follow us on Spotify, Apple, all those
Instagram, down.tothewire.com.
Dude, stop doing my job for me. Dude, legitimately stop. All right. But yeah, no, Zeke's doing a great job. Again, if you want to follow us, make sure you just follow basically everything Zeke said. And Zeke, is there anything you want to shout out?
Just shout out my family. You can also, if you're interested in just following me, it's Zeke Kransdorf 64, Kransdorf. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, way to go. All right. You guys have been if you guys have been listening on the radio, you've been listening to WJMF 88.7 HD2 Smithfield, Providence. Thank you guys again so much for tuning in. And from Down the Wire, I'm Brian Costa.
And I'm Zeke Kransdorf.
And we hope you guys have a great rest of your night. Take care. And peace out.